So good evening, everyone. This is Kodo, and let's see, I think they're spotlighted, but I'm going to remove
Good evening, everybody.
Oh, they can't hear me in there. Okay.
Everybody hear me okay? And Zoom? Yes? Okay. So,
Can you?
good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, whatever is the right greeting, depends on your time zone. So, I'm very grateful and honored to be here, to share this talk with all of you. And when I was sitting during this time, this period, so it's I would say it's very difficult not to practice here in Upaya. It's just amazing and beautiful place, and as many of you know, that I live here many years, but just being here in this land, and then just arrive to Upaya. So this temple, this sendo, has quite magnetism that really pull you to practice, to come and to sit with the Sangha. So it's very, it's very difficult to find an excuse not to do it. And so I'm very happy to be here, and it's the first talk, I guess. It's the first talk for the full practice period, the 2002. And the title for the whole month of this practice is Cultivating the Empty Field. And also I'm very happy to be here with Kosan, with Nanette, Chuck, all the residents, and also with Kathy. I heard that she is here already at Upaya. So, every year, twice a year, we come, the same thing to share the Dharma with you, to practice with you. So very, very lucky, and also grateful with my teacher, Roshi Jong, for building this place and creating this wonderful oasis in this world, and that we can continue practicing. Yeah. For this evening, I'm going to share brief introduction of relating with the title of this whole practice period, the whole month of Cultivating the Empty Field. And then the title for my talk is Stopping and Seeing the Art of Just Sitting. What we are going to try to do during the month, we have only one topic, and then the topic is really just sit. It's very simple. And then we want to try to see from different lenses, from different books and different teachers and different expressions of what does it mean to just sit. What does it mean, this core of this practice, what we call zazen, or in Japanese term, shikantaza, just sitting, or Chinese term, silent illumination. So cultivating the ending field is the meaning of silent illumination. And it's our main practice in the school of Soto. So go a little bit with the history of these terms of silent illumination. So trace to this monk, to this Zen Master Hongzhi Senjue, and then also sometimes called Tinton Sanjue. So he was alive and from 1091 to 1157. And that era, I'm in China in the Song Dynasty. So he revitalized this practice of silent illumination or just sitting. It was already at the time in China, coming from Bodhidharma and from Huineng, and gone through Shito, another great Zen master. He wrote the Sandokai, or the identity of the relative and absolute poem, the we chant here in Upaya in this service. So, and after the Shito and to get to Hongzhi, so spend a little time where the practice of just sitting was a little dry, so to speak, a little dry. And Hongzhi revitalized. And that time in China, there was another way to practice, the inquiring practice, questioning practice, the Quan practice. And people who tried to do this practice of just sitting, the other group, they were saying that there were no basically practicing. They were more like had the impression that we were that they were just like a killing time on the cushion. And then, so Hongzhi came and really refreshed the practice. And you will understand why, what this is. You can misunderstand this practice. It's very easily to misunderstand, and also you can think that you are doing shikantaza or just sitting, and then you might be just killing time on the cushion or daydreaming. So that's the downside of this practice. I remember, and when I started practicing, when I found Zen, when I found my practice, I was, counting my breath. That was what I found in the book. And I was sitting and doing this practice, counting my breath to 1 to 10 and come back. And then later, through the books, I read about this practice of shikantaza and just sitting, and then there was not so many instructions. That was just the teachers mentioning, oh, just sit, and then nothing to attain, and just sitting. And then I tried to do it, and then I saw the practice was very difficult, and also there was quite in those books of Zen, maybe you heard the shikantaza it is quite advanced practice. And some books they were saying, first you had to practice koans and go through koans, and after, there was one teacher that mentioned that after you practice shikantaza. So shikantaza was advanced practice. And then it get this kind of, kind of myth, the kind of aura around about this be very, very advanced, high-level practice. And it is, and it is not. And for one side, it is advanced, but for the other side, it's not. It's the most simple, natural practice. And anyway, so when I tried to do it, sitting, I remember on that shikantaza, it was very hard because they tell you don't need to focus on anything. So you cannot hold any object of concentration. So I couldn't. It was, my tendency was to grasp to something. And then I give up. But another idea that I had in that time, it was about to stop my thinking. Like I wanted to really be in that kind of state of blankness. And then I would say, oh, that's shikantaza. That was my idea. And anyway, so it's not that. And then I spent many years doing concentration practice. I still doing, and sometimes we lucky if I can do just sitting. And then when I did concentration for many years, holding, counting my breath, and then later I practiced a little with my Korean teacher Koan, and then I came to Upaya and start getting introduced into this practice of just sitting, and then concentrating on my breath. And I remember that I went to a Dokusan with one of the teachers here at that time, and I asked about it, and then she told me, say, okay, if I wanted to practice shikantaza, say, go into your body. Go into your body. Please, first concentrate on your body. Be aware of your whole body. And then I didn't follow the instructions because I was expecting something more advanced, something more like, oh, just the body. And then it took me another 1 or 2 years finally to understood what she meant about being the body, to practice with the body. So this month that we are gonna be together and exploring some tests, some teachings from different, like I say, from different Zen masters. The intention is to inspire you to do the practice, because this practice of just sitting, we cannot get it from the book. We had to sit. We had to do physically to do the practice. Like that is what is the whole Zen practice is about, to really sit and to do it physically, body and mind, to get engaged into the practice. And then I hope that reading those texts and listen to the Dharma talks, we can get inspired to do this practice, to refresh our practice. And then it's so important, this practice of just sitting, and because there is so much out there in the marketplace. There are so many techniques of meditation. And also there are some things up there that there are not really meditation practice. There is something else, maybe positive thinking, or contemplating, or some kind of auto-suggestion to do better and the world, and then they put it as a meditation. And also with the big movement of mindfulness and then becoming a little therapeutic, this practice. So sometimes we forget, we get lost. We get lost about the basic and the core of these teachings, of Buddhist teachings. Yes, meditation can be therapeutic, but this is not the point of that. It's not the point of that. So this just sitting, it becomes less attractive for our practice. Because, like I say, it's a very simple practice. But at the same time, it's a very difficult practice. And then what makes difficult to do this practice, to do just sitting or silent illumination practice, what makes it difficult is the I, the reference point. So because the I and this practice and this Zen and this style of meditation, the I has to get out of the way. And it's so difficult because the I has to cling to something. We cannot really be, it's very difficult to be just aware what is going on, fully embracing all the senses and be present and let life, I would say, let life come to you and go through you and go out, in and out, and this flux. And then the I, it gets unstable, so to speak. It gets afraid to lose control. And we had to call into something. because that holding into something that makes us to feel safe. It's kind of safe security for ourselves, because we are not familiar with the natural state of the mind. That is what is shikantaza or silent illumination, just the natural state of the mind. So one ingredient for this practice that is so important to do this practice is faith. Is faith. And then this faith that I'm going to talk about is not the faith in the way how I grew up as a Catholic, to put faith in somebody else outside of myself and some kind of high power. That's not the faith that you need. It's the faith in your own practice and the time that you spend doing this practice. In those 20 minutes, 25 minutes, half an hour, wherever the time that you have in your life to cultivate this practice, that's the we put faith in that. And always I say, we put faith in this piece of fabric and this mat and this cushion, and then when I cross my legs and sit, and then right there we put faith in that process. And we had to have the concept of the idea of faith in what we call Buddha nature, but this Buddha nature is not the soul. The Buddha nature is here that we are connected, that we are not independent. That I know independent, that there is no separation. And it's not easy to experience that because obviously I am here and you are there. You know, there is some kind of separation. But at the same time, there is some kind of connection. When through the path of the time doing this practice, something, let's call it, or I like to call it, something magic happen. So because it's in our nature, in our true nature, because it's the natural state of mind, they start to come to the surface. Beyond all the conditioning, beyond the Buddha would say, beyond our karma. So all the karma, all the things that we are carrying out, there is something that we can go through, not get rid of. You know, we hope, you know, we wish to get rid of all those things, but there is a more spaciousness that we can see clearly that all our karma or background or let's put it, or baggage or what we are carrying with us is just part of us, but it doesn't hold us anymore. So when we open to that is spaciousness, and then there is this deep connection with what we call the Buddha nature. But the Buddha nature is just the interbeing, the thing that I will call the interbeing, this interconnectedness with life. So here is no life, is up there. So we are part of the life. And just to give you a little more information with this practice, like I say some names, Yosirim, shikantaza, silent illumination, and then choiceless awareness. And then other traditions they call Mahamudra or Dzogchen. That's the same, let's put it, the same technique. And also there are other practices, other meditation practices, there is concentrations or metta practice or mindfulness practice or guided meditations. So if you remember the Zen Master Dogen and the Fukan Zazenji, when he teach how to do Zazen, he's teaching how to do shikantaza, he say, what I teach is not called meditation. He was saying more, pointed out to other techniques. And then he say, no, this the Dharma gate of is enjoy. And this practice go to our essence, who we really are. So it takes time. One ingredient that what I say, faith in this concept of Buddha nature, faith in this oneness and this connection, faith in your practice. And then that faith in your practice starts turning into faith and to trust in yourself to do this practice. Another ingredient they needs to do this practice is stillness, but that stillness comes through concentration practice. So that's what we teach when we teach meditation. We get an object of concentration. Usually we say, put your attention, focus on your breath. And we say on our breath, but also on the physical sensations in our body and the low abdomen, what we call in Japanese the hara, just a little below to the belly button. And we concentrate there our mind, our attention, to start building that stability, that stillness. Because we need it. What happens if we don't have a stillness? If we don't have that basic concentration practice? So to be just sitting, we are not going to be really sitting. We are not going to be in the body. We are going to be in our mental formations that we're going to produce this, what we call daydreaming. And so just you're going to go on and on and on and on and on and on. But you are not here, so to speak. And then another element for this practice is groundness. To be really grounded, to be really here. So that the element to create this groundness is the body. So that's why we emphasize a lot. We emphasize in posture, and the really physical posture. So we become very meticulous to the posture, to the sitting, because as soon you start expanding more your attention, you start paying more attention in the details of your sitting. And this is really, really true. In my own experience, I remember I say many times, not many times, but several times in Dharma talks, about being in a state of sleepiness for some time. When I was living here, I was sitting, and then until I start refreshing or make the effort, the practice effort to pay attention on my body. And then I had this habit of just crossing my legs, and suddenly, just very tiny gestures, like my back went in, curve, and then later I tilt, and I was gone. I was gone for maybe 10 minutes. And then my practice in that time, I was not to let my body to curve. So that's when we start refining our posture, and really, really pay attention on your back, relax your shoulders, and also this mudra when we do zazen, the cosmic mudra, so important because the cosmic mudra is gonna tell you how is your state of mind. If you are really clinging, grasping, restless mind, the tones, they're going to go up. If you are tired, if you are tired, really tired, and sleepy and drowsy, the tones are going to collapse. So we emphasize a lot. Pay attention in your posture, embodiment, and really ground. because we had the idea, takes a little time, because when we came into this meditation practice, we had the idea that we are doing something. We have to do something, or condition it, or the way how we operate in this life, always we had to be occupied. So when we carry this mind to do Zazen, and then we start getting quite obsessed to the practice of meditation, and then all the judgmental mind comes, I am doing right or not, all this stuff, but also we start thinking that we are meditating. So one teacher say that we are putting another meditator on the top of this meditator. So we need to be aware of that, because it's not, and if we are going to do just sitting, it's not about doing it, it's about being. It's about being. So being the seat, being the sitting. And then where it comes, or I'll say the harvest of this practice, or another ingredient, is the insight, is the awakening. To see clearly this oneness, and to see clearly this non-dualistic view of life. So when we become one with our Zazen, it's not the I am doing practice, so I have to do my practice. I am the practice. There is no more something that like a disoriented mind or task-oriented. I would say here is more about expressing. It's more expressing. It's more expression. And it's to clean. It's just, that's what Dogen emphasized a lot in his teachings of practice is realization, realization is practice. So we have to be aware of. So that's the just sitting allows us to see that. So Hongzhi, he wrote a beautiful poem based in the, and then we are going to explore it for sure in this month, based on the, I would say, the landscaping of the journey or the expression of silent illumination of the sitting. And then I'm just going to read the first verse or the first paragraph of the poem because it's beautiful. It says, silent and serene, forgetting words, bright clearly appears before you. When you reflect it, you become vast. Where you embody it, you are spiritual uplifted. So, two very important words here is forgetting words, forgetting that description, that intellectual mind that we use all the time. So here the practice is to think with the body. So brightly clear appears before you. So that is the Kuan. What appears before you? What is that? And when you reflect it, you become vast. This vastness is the oneness, is that you feel connected. When you embody it, here is the key, embody it, you are spiritually uplifted. So the practice is the embodiment. So the practice of Zen and our school and the Mahayana practice, we emphasize a lot that everyday life is the way. Every activity is opportunity to wake up. And also when we wake up, what it comes the compassion element. So how we live this life and the wakeful state, obviously with compassionate way, we care for each other, we connect. Because this practice is no this spiritual practice, this up there. Your practice happen only here, only in this end, or only in your space and home. So the practice of silent illumination or just sitting is 24/7. So that's what Hongzhi and his teachings and his writings brings to really, really, really to embody the practice. It's not only in the cushion. It's not only in the cushion. It's not the complete the practice. The practice is not complete if we think this happen in the cushion. And with the title of like the book that we choose, they say cultivating the empty field. So if we get the intellect analyzing, cultivating the empty field, well, if we take the word empty, well, what we are going to cultivate if it's empty, there is nothing there to cultivate. You can see for that perspective. But the emptiness here is the fullness. Is we cultivate everything. We cultivate the field of everything. Is the opposite. So, just to end, something that I'm going to read is very, I think, capture about or practice about this paradox of just sitting, the paradox of meditation in our school and our Chan and Soto Zen. And then this writing is by the teacher, Dharma teacher, Shinzen Jong. And they say, so far we have spoken of meditation in terms of growth, development, rewards, and attainment. In Japan, he talks about the Soto Zen. In Japan, there is a school which approaches meditation in an utterly different way, refusing to speak of any attainments, such as samadhi, enlightenment, or nirvana. According to Soto Zen, meditation is most emphatically not a tool, nor a means to an end. Rather, it's an expression of the fact that the means and the end are not separate. So Soto Zen advocates something called just sitting. To appreciate this, we must consider for a moment another fundamental paradox of meditation process. And he quoted, I guess, a poem in the end of Little Gidding, T.S. Eliot say, we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started, and not to the place for the first time, and know the place for the first time. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started, and know the place for the first time. That is the answer for me, the answer that we start here, we go all the way, and we come back to the same point that we started. But we come back to the same point with different eyes. So here in the meditation is a journey. It's a journey to where one is. The distance separating starting point and goal is zero. The distance separating starting point and the goal is zero. So that is the, in Dogen, that's the word when Dogen teaching says close the gap. That is the closing the gap. So to end, so there are many paths for entering the reality of nirvana, but in essence, they are all contained with two practices, stopping and seeing. So stopping is the primary gate for overcoming the bonds of compulsiveness. Seeing is the essential requisite for ending confusion. Stopping is the wholesome resource that nurtures the mind. Seeing is the marvelous art which fosters intuitive understanding. Stopping is the effective cause of attaining concentrated repose. Seeing is the very basis of enlightened wisdom. So this is our practice. This is the stopping is the silent. And seeing is the wisdom, is the illumination, is the light. So when we can make a pause in our lives and be attentive, that we can see our choices. That is wisdom. And we can change our bad habits. Habits that cause suffering to ourselves and to others. And turn our own way, they turn or change our karma conditions. That we can cultivate good behaviors or good habits, that we can support our practice and support others and take care of others. So that's what I have for tonight, and thank you so much for your attention.
Sensei Shinzan, thank you so much. Can you hear me? Thank you so much for your wonderful talk. I didn't get a chance to introduce you at the beginning because we're having audio issues, but for those who don't know, Sensei Shinzan is a longtime friend and student of Upaya and Roshi Joan, and a successor of her, and has started his own Open Gate Zen collective community in San Diego. And we're just so fortunate to have him here teaching for the fall practice period. So I just wanted to let everyone know who's watching, who's not already on the Zoom meeting, that you're not on the fall practice period. Please join. You can join. It's free by donation, and I'm just putting a link in the YouTube right now. Please join for more quintessential teachings. I feel like Sensei Shinzan, every time you talk about meditation, it's just like, oh yeah, of course. Like, it's so simple. And then I sit down and it's like, why is it so hard? Well, we'll get more encouragement from Shinzan and Sensei Kathy and Kozan, Hoshi Kozan, this practice period, as well as other teachers. So we hope you join us, even if you can't join for all of the sessions, at least we can join us for our morning sits, for our zazenkais, and for talks throughout. So please go ahead and click the link and join. And tonight, for those of you who are in the fall practice period, thank you for joining for this. We'll start at 7:45 in about an hour and 20 minutes with the opening. So we'll have some opening talks from our teachers and end with the 4 vows. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be up and running with our regular schedule. If you have any questions about that, you can write us at onlineprograms@upaya.org, but I think you should be getting all of the emails. If you're not getting kind of update emails, let us know so we can make sure you're on the list. Sensei Shinzan, thank you so much for your wonderful talk. Looking forward to sitting with you and with the Sangha. And we'll end with the 4 great vows of the Bodhisattva.